If you're wondering what plyometrics are and why you should use them, I'm going to give you 4 keys behind why plyometrics are important and how they're going to make you jump higher and run faster. What's up, everybody? I'm Dane from Garage Strength, and I want to give you guys 4 of the big keys behind why plyometrics are effective, how they work, and what they can do to get you to run faster and jump higher. So right off the bat, what are a couple different things that we know about plyometrics? If you watch the first video that we did on what plyometrics are, you understand that the stretch shortening cycle is one of the dominant aspects behind plyometrics. You understand the eccentric phase, the amortization phase, and the concentric phase. So what does that mean from a utilization point? Why are they so effective? So right away, we have to understand there's a neurological reason behind why they're effective. Number 1, they teach your body how to improve firing frequency, and they teach your body how to overcome the size principle. So what does that mean? Firing frequency, if we can think about when you first started lifting weights and you're doing a dumbbell bench and you're sort of wobbling all over the place, what ends up happening at that point, that's when you first started to weight train, okay? So that's when your body is sending their firing signals at a disproportionate rate. It's your nervous system is firing inconsistently, so your body's not able to recruit and stabilize those muscles fast enough. So the first 8 to 12 weeks that we have somebody involved with strength training, they're actually just getting stronger, not because their muscles are getting bigger, but because their nervous system is firing more effectively, so they're getting to be more consistent firing frequencies. That's one of the major keys behind plyometrics, is the firing frequency is much faster and much more consistent so that your body reacts a little bit quicker. And what this does is it opens up neurological pathways. And this leads us into Henneman's size principle. Is now we're almost reversing the size principle. So if we can think about somebody's holding their hand out and they drop a whole bunch of books on their bicep. If they have 20 pounds being dropped from 6 feet, they have to recruit very, very quickly. So it's a very, very rapid recruitment of high threshold motor units. Your body skips the recruitment of lower level motor units, low threshold motor units, and moderate threshold motor units, and immediately jumps to recruiting very, very high threshold motor units. And what that means is now all of a sudden, if you refer back to our blog and our video on high threshold motor units, now our high threshold motor units are the axons are targeting thousands of muscle fibers. Okay, so now we can recruit much faster, and that's going to teach our body how to optimize its neurological pathways. Number 2, the metabolic aspect behind plyometrics in the usage of the anaerobic alactic energy system. So we go over this system quite a bit during our Mass Builder series of videos, but this is also very important. So when we're using plyometrics from an energy perspective, if we're not using them for improving our cardiovascular endurance, we're just going to be using these in regards to power output and speed. So we know that our body uses the anaerobic alactic system. So creatine phosphate is utilized to put out a rapid amount of force over 15 to 20 seconds. We know that in untrained individuals, it can take up to 3 minutes to restore the anaerobic alactic energy system so that we can continue to put out power at a very high level. So when we're utilizing plyometrics in training, and what we end up doing in the vertical jump manifesto is we like to utilize these in training. So the first 4 weeks of the vertical jump manifesto, it's about improving our body's ability to recover with the anaerobic alactic energy system. So your vertical jump might not go up right away because we're trying to teach your body how to recover faster within the anaerobic alactic system so it can put out more power at a faster rate with quicker recovery. So if we're in a sport like football, or another field sport, or even a sport like wrestling to a point where we put out a massive amount of power and then we get about a 45-second to 90-second break, then our body is able to restore those creatine levels to a point and now we can put out power a little bit faster. So the second aspect is entirely based around the metabolic benefits. The third aspect, the technical prowess of vertical jumping and plyometrics is incredible. What we've done here at Garage Strength, and when we built the Vertical Jump Manifesto, we ran athletes through this system, this programming, and it's incredible to note that we have seen direct correlation between jumping and their improvement in their technical movements in squats, in Olympic lifts, in deadlifts, and everything like this. So predominantly in squats and the Olympic lifts is that if you can envision an athlete jumping up onto a box and then landing. So we would see athletes land and they'd sort of hop and then jump back up. And if you can provide that cue, hey, when you ground, I want you to jump right back up. So during that amortization phase, they control that eccentric and jump right back up onto that box. Okay, so the same could be said for single leg squats with single leg bounds. So don't stutter step when you land. It's important that you ground and jump rapidly as you possibly can and control that. And what ended up happening is that when we ran our tests, by utilizing the plyometric movements, so doing a box jump or doing a hurdle hop, in ironing out those stutter steps, now the body's starting to recruit muscle fibers and high threshold motor units more effectively. And then we can provide that 3 to 5 minute rest period. Okay, and then they can go back into their back squat or their front squat or their trap bar jumps, whatever it might end up being. So the muscular coordination improves dramatically just from doing a depth drop over into a box jump or hurdle hops or anything along those lines, or stair jumps where there's a little bit less eccentric load on the stair jumps. This muscular coordination then is carried over into the strength realm as long as the rest period is 3 to 5 minutes, and you'll note that in the Vertical Jump Manifesto. That fourth aspect is the muscular shift. So when we talked about the neurological pathways opening up and plyometrics almost overriding the Henneman size principle, we can think about that muscular shift as well, is that plyometrics are going to utilize predominantly very, very fast twitch muscle fibers. So if we can think about, there's a type 1, which is a slow twitch muscle fiber. There's type 2A, which is going to be like the moderate level fast twitch muscle fibers, but not super quick, not super explosive. And then there's a type 2X. So the type 2X is the fast twitch muscle fibers that we see guys that have 40-inch verticals like Jacob Horst. Those are the guys that are predominantly made up of type 2X fast twitch muscle fibers. And what ends up happening that we've seen with individuals on the Vertical Jump Manifesto who utilize our plyometric programming is that now we've seen this shift over 12 to 16 weeks where the athletes, because of the neurological improvements, their body's recruiting faster and they're starting to shift almost predominantly to utilizing type 2A and type 2X fast twitch muscle fibers. So we even see in exercises like the bench press, pull-ups, movements that are even, especially pull-ups where they're typically a little bit slower twitch muscle groups like the lats, and they're still becoming more explosive because their body, their brain, and their awareness has been heightened, and now they're firing at a much greater rate, and they're recruiting high threshold motor units, which are likely attached to type 2X muscle fibers, and now they start to operate at a very elite level as an athlete. So utilize plyometrics for these 4 key benefits. There's a neurological pathways that are opening up. Henneman size principles essentially put into reverse. Number 2, the muscular adaptations are incredible. Now our intermuscular coordination is improved and our body is starting to operate a bit more effectively. 3, there's a metabolic adaptation. The body starts to adapt quicker with the anaerobic alactic energy system, and it recovers slightly faster, which can then improve power output in shorter periods of time. And 4, now we see a massive gain in the technical realm. We start to see squats improve. We start to see jumps improve, single leg squats improve, simply because the body is forced to move as effectively as possible. If you like this information, head over to garagestrength.com. You can pick up the Vertical Jump Manifesto today. Please like, subscribe, share this video all over the internet. Peace.